Welcome. We are going to do a deep stretch yoga practice today. So, for household items, if you have a strap, we're going to use a strap. If not, you are going to take a towel, you are going to roll it up and just have it long ways. All right, so we're just going to stay seated in a comfortable position in the center of our mat. Start to roll the shoulders back, shoulder blades down. Reach through the crown of the head, hands down by our sides. We're going to take a big cleansing breath. So as we inhale, start to bring the arms all the way up, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Lift yourselves out of those hips. Bring the hands together. Exhale, knee to the heart. Doing it 2 more times. We inhale, bring the arms all the way on up, palms facing towards the ceiling. Hands together. Exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale, draw the arms up, maybe gazing up at the ceiling. Hands together. Exhale, meet the heart. So we're going to take this right arm, we're going to bring it back behind us. Press into the mat right behind that right hip. Lift through the spine, through the crown of the head. As we exhale, bring that left hand over towards that right knee. We gently twist through the belly, gazing over the right shoulder. Take a few breaths. We inhale through the nose. Exhale, release. Maybe twisting a little bit further as we exhale and just twisting through that belly here. And on your next inhale, start to bring yourselves back to center. We draw the left arm back behind us this time, right behind that left hip. Press into the mat. Inhale, find that length. Start to bring the right hand to that left knee. We gently twist, gazing over the left shoulder. We're twisting through that belly, keeping the chest open. Taking a few breaths. Good. Start to bring ourselves back to center. We're going to start to ground the hands down to meet the mat. Start to walk ourselves to the top and just exhale, forward fold. Maybe planting the hands down, press in, bring those sits bones back. Inhale, exhale, soften. Dropping the head and the neck down, maybe taking a couple neck rolls, shaking the head side to side. Shaking the head, yes. We start to bring ourselves back up to center. The way we have our legs crossed, we're going to uncross them and cross them the other way. Again, plant the hands down, start to walk ourselves down to the top of our mat. Exhale, forward fold. We're inhaling, drawing the shoulders back. Exhale, soften the belly. Again, maybe shaking the head yes, shaking the head no. And start to walk ourselves all the way back up. We're going to go into our tabletop position. So start to bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Fingers are spread really wide, index finger facing the top of our mat. Knees are underneath the hips. Our feet are flat down. Doing a little bit of cat-cow. So as we inhale, start to tilt the pelvis down, drop the belly, bring the shoulders back, chest through, gaze all the way on up. And as we exhale, press the feet, the shins into the mat. Start to lift the pelvis up, belly towards the spine, pressing that mat away, giving ourselves that cat leg back. Drop the head and neck. Inhale, start to roll ourselves back out into cow, gazing up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press the mat away. Cat leg back. 1 more time, we inhale, start to feel the breath enter through the body. Cool air, swirl on the back of the throat. Take an extra sip of air on top of that big one. And exhale, sigh, release it all out. Coming back to our neutral tabletop here, we're going to extend the right leg back behind us. So staying grounded in our tabletop, just lift the right leg back, reach through the ball of the foot. Engage that core, making sure that right hip isn't lifting, but staying parallel to our mat. We're going to extend the left arm all the way out. Find length through the arm, through the fingertips, as well as that spine. Maybe lifting that back leg up just a little bit more. Start to release that left hand down. We take this right leg, bring it over towards our right side. That left knee, we're going to send it to the outside of our mat. And as we exhale, just slowly start to bring the hips back towards that heel. We can stay up into our hands, drop down into our forearms, or start to extend the arms on out, releasing the chest, the chin, the forehead down. So again, just focusing on our breath, softening our lower body as we exhale. We just want to make sure our hips are squared to meet the mat. So if they're up just like this, that means we just need to bring ourselves up a little bit higher. Just take a couple more breaths here. Good, next inhale, start to rise, bring ourselves back up into our hands. Draw that left knee back underneath the hip. Bring that right leg back behind us, reach, lifting it up high. Exhale, start to release it down to meet the mat. Going over to the other side, we extend that left leg back behind us, reach through the ball of the foot, engage that core. Start to reach the right arm out in front of us, finding length. We start to bring that right hand down. Left leg goes out to the left side here. Draw that right knee to the outside of our mat. And as we exhale, start to sink those hips all the way on back. Again, we can stay up into our hands, drop down into the forearms, or extend the arms all the way out in front of us. Lowering the chest, the chin, the forehead down. And just focus on our breath, breathing all the way in, exhale out. And just settle in, just allowing the body to do the work. Next inhale, start to bring ourselves back up into our hands. Drawing that right knee back underneath the hip, we send the left leg back behind us, lifting it up high. Exhale, release down to meet the mat. So going right into our tabletop again, spread the fingers really wide. Index fingers facing the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders, arms out in front. Going into our downward facing dog, we're going to curl the toes on under. Inhale, start to lift the knees up and just hover. Take a few breaths. 1, 2, and on our next exhale, lift the hips up. Really press the mat away. Start to straighten out the legs right into our downward facing dog. See if you can start to bring the chest towards the thighs, soften the head. We can bend the knees, shimmy the hips side to side. If the wrists start to hurt, just see if you can walk the hands and the feet closer together. We can also place a slight bend into our knees. Next inhale, rise up on the balls of our feet. Start to bring ourselves out into plank. We keep the toes curled under. As we exhale, just drop those hips towards the wrists. Inhale, reach to the crown of the head. Bring the shoulders back, opening up the chest. And as we exhale, right back into downward facing dog. Next inhale, rise on the balls of our feet. Roll ourselves forward out into plank. Exhale, just dip those hips down. Inhale, reach through the crown of the head. Drop the shoulders. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Good. Start to walk our hands back towards our feet. We're just going to ragdoll here. So put a slight bend into the knees. Grab opposite elbows. Start to sway side to side. Shake the head yes, shake the head no. So we bring our hands back down to meet the mat. Walk ourselves out into downward facing dog. Take a cleansing breath. We inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh, release out. Start to walk our hands and feet together right into the center of our mat. We bring our hands together for Anjali Mudra, putting a bend into the knees. Start to roll ourselves all the way on up. Stacking vertebrae on top of vertebrae, hands to heart center. Hands down by our side for our Tadasana. Gently close the eyes. Feel the grounding down into the legs, the feet. Sucking the shoulders over the hips. Slightly tucking in that tailbone, belly into our spine. Taking a sun breath, we inhale. Palms reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Hands together. Exhale, meeting down to the heart. Good. So we're going to grab our strap or our towel. Bringing back into the center of our mat. We're going to inhale, bring the arms all the way up high. As we exhale, start to pull down on that left arm. Reach ourselves all the way over. Feeling that stretch go down the right side. And tuck in that tailbone just slightly, feeling for that deeper stretch. Maybe pull a little bit more, gaze up at the ceiling. Inhale, start to rise. Exhale, reach over towards the opposite side this time, really pulling down on that right side. Tucking in the tailbone. Feeling that stretch. Start to gaze up at the ceiling, opening up the chest. Inhale, rise up. And again, pulling down onto that left, maybe going a little bit further. Inhale, rise up. Exhale over towards the right side this time. Good, we bring ourselves up. Start to bring the strap or the towel down by our side. Walk ourselves to the top of our mat. Inhale, arms rise, palms facing up. Exhale with a back bend, start to reach back behind us. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. We inhale, lift up halfway with a flat back. Exhale, forward fold, grounds the hands down. We step, walk, or jump ourselves back into plank. Take a few breaths here. Going through a vinyasa flow, start to roll ourselves forward. Chaturanga down. Rolling forward for upward facing dog, baby cobra. Exhale right into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. Remember to press the mat away, peeling and melting that chest towards the thighs. Inhale, right leg rises. Bend a knee, bring the heel to meet the glute. Start to lift the knee up towards the ceiling just slightly. And as we exhale, draw the leg to the top of the mat. Drop it in between the hands for our lunge. We start to ground the left hand down. Inhale, right arm rises for a gentle twist. We could always drop down into the left knee for a modification. Good, next exhale, release yourselves down into that left knee. We're gonna try to heel toe that right foot to the outside of our mat. Sink those hips forward. Start to bend that left knee, grab back with the right arm. Again, if we have our strap or towel, we can wrap it around this foot. Start to lift the chest up towards the ceiling, right shoulder back. Remember to breathe. Start to release that foot. Bring the right arm right on into the inside of that right foot. We're going to curl the left toes on under, lift up the knee. Hold here for a few breaths. On our next inhale, start to bring that left knee up to meet the top of our mat. We're going to bring the feet to the outside. Exhale, start to sink those hips down, going into our prayer squat. So we use those elbows to draw the knees out. Lift through the crown of the head, hands to heart center. We could gently close the eyes or just have a slight gaze out in front of us. Release the hands down to meet the mat. Lift the hips all the way up. Start to heel toe those feet back underneath the hips. Exhale, forward fold. We inhale, lift up halfway. Bend the knees, bringing the belly onto the thighs. The palms of our hands are going to meet the soles of our feet. Bring the toes towards the wrists. Start to distribute the weight from the heel. Start to bring it up into the balls of the feet, gripping the toes right on in. Drop the head and the neck. Take a big, huge inhale, and as we exhale, soften the shoulders, the back. Start to straighten out the legs, lifting the hips up high. Settle in just for a moment. Start to release the hands from underneath the feet. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Grounds the hands down. We step, walk, or jump ourselves back into plank. Going through an optional vinyasa flow, we start to roll ourselves forward. Chaturanga down. Rolling forward for upward facing dog, baby cobra. Exhale right into downward facing dog. And just take a few breaths. Remember to soften the head and the neck, soften the shoulders. Inhale, left leg rises. Bend the knee, bring the heel to meet the glute. Start to lift the knee up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, start to bring it to the top of the mat. Drop it in between the hands for our lunge. We keep that right hand grounded. And as we inhale, start to reach the left arm all the way up towards the ceiling for a gentle twist. Modification is dropping down into the right knee, but really pressing the mat away with the right arm. We start to lower down into the right knee. Bend the knee, bring the foot back behind us. Again, we can grab that strap or towel around the ankle. Start to reach back, lifting the chest up towards the ceiling. Focus on your breath. Release that foot. Draw the left arm back into the center of our mat. We're going to bring that right leg up to the top, going right into our prayer squat. So start to bring ourselves back up. Release the hips down. Hands to heart center. Reach to the crown of the head. If you have been working on your crow pose, you can always take it here. You can stay into your prayer squat, or you could ground the hands down, lift the hips up, start to bring the feet in underneath those hips. Bends the knees, and again, we start to tilt ourselves forward and start to lift the feet up for crow. Remember to breathe in whichever pose that you decide to do. So those of us in prayer squat start to ground the hands. Those of us in crow start to ground the feet. Lift the hips up. Heel toe the feet back underneath those hips. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway with a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Grounds the hands down. We step, walk, or jump ourselves back into plank. Going through an optional flow, we start to roll ourselves forward. Chaturanga down. Rolling forward for upward facing dog, baby cobra. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. Inhale, right leg rises. Bend the knee, bring the heel to meet the glute. Start to draw the leg back to the top of our mat. Drop the foot in between the hands. When you drop that back heel, windmill the arms, open ourselves out for warrior two. Gazing down that right middle finger. On our next exhale, just sink those hips closer towards our mat. We flip the front palm, lift it up high, reverse warrior. Reaching right up tall, left arm guides ourselves down that left leg. Start to bring ourselves back out to warrior two. We're going to drop this back arm, our left arm, start to swing the left hip forward, warrior one. Tuck in the tailbone, shoulders over the hips. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, bring the hands down, frame out that right foot, lifting up that back heel. We start to send that right leg, that right foot over towards the left. Lower down that knee, we're right into pigeon. So again, we can inhale, reach through the crown of the head. Start to bring the arms back behind us, clasp the hands. Roll the shoulders back. Start to lift the chest up towards the ceiling for a gentle back bend. Breathe. Release the hands, start to bring us down to meet the mat. We could stay up into the hands, drop down into the forearms, or all the way down into sleeping pigeon. Just being aware that our hips and our mat are parallel to each other. So we can always take that towel, we can bunch it up or a pillow and lift it underneath that right hip. Start to focus on your breath. Good, start to settle in. Soften our hips as we exhale. On our next inhale, start to bring ourselves up, ground ourselves into our hands. We lift the left toes, bring them all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release them down. Curl the toes under, lift up that knee. Send the right leg back to meet the left, but keep that right leg lifted, right into plank. Going through a vinyasa flow, we start to roll ourselves forward. Chaturanga down. Rolling forward for upward facing dog, baby cobra. And as we exhale, lift that right leg all the way up high towards the ceiling, right into downward facing dog. Release the leg down to meet the mat. We can walk it out here. Good, going to our other side, we lift the left leg all the way up. Bend the knee, bring the heel to meet the glute. Start to guide the leg to the top of the mat. Drop it in between the hands for our lunge. We drop that back foot, windmill the arms, open up for warrior two. Easing down that left middle finger. Next exhale, sink the hips closer towards our mat. Flip the front palm, lift it up high, reverse warrior. Reach up tall, guide that right leg down, that right leg. Back to warrior two. Drop that right arm, swing the right hip forward, warrior one. Tucking in the tailbone, shoulders over those hips. Front knee bent. Reach up tall, and as we exhale, bring the hands down. Lift up that back heel and start to send the left foot over towards the right side. Lower down that knee, right into pigeon. Going inhale, find length through the spine. Bring the arms back behind us, clasp the hands. Roll the shoulders back, down away from the ears. Start to guide those clasped hands down that back leg, lift the chest up high. Focus on the breath. Start to release the hands. Bring ourselves down into the forearms, or all the way down to meet the mat to sleeping pigeon. Focus in, take a few breaths. Breathing all the way in, exhale out. Maybe start to soften the shoulders a little bit. Next inhale, start to bring ourselves up into our hands. We're going to point the toes, start to lift them up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release down. Curl the toes under, lift up the knee. Send the left leg back to meet the right, but keeping that leg lifted right into plank. Going through our vinyasa flow, we start to roll ourselves forward, chaturanga down. Rolling forward for upward facing dog, baby cobra. And exhale right into downward facing dog, lifting that left leg up high. Exhale, bring it down to meet the mat. Inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, drop down into child's pose. So sending the knees to the outside of our mat. Bring the toes together. Exhale, sink the hips back. Inhale, find length through the arms, walking to the top of our mat. Exhale, release the chin, the chest, the forehead, all the way down. Take a big, huge inhale and exhale, sigh, release it all out. Maybe pressing that third eye right into our mat. When you're ready, start to bring ourselves back on up. We're going to lay down onto our mats. Going into a mini savasana here. So just extend the legs, heels to the corner of our mat. Exhale, start to roll the spine all the way on down. Hands drop by our sides. Just settle in just for a moment. And start to ground the soles of the feet down to meet the mat. Heels towards our hips. Tuck in that tailbone. Start to draw the shoulders down our back. Hands by our side, palms facing towards our mat. We inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, start to press into the mat with the legs. Lift the hips up. Roll the shoulders under, clasp the hands. Going into our bridge pose here. Start to feel the cool air swirl in the back of the throat as we're inhaling. Maybe pressing those arms into the mat, lifting the hips up a little bit higher. Next inhale, start to lift the heels off our mat. Walk the feet closer towards us just a little bit. As we exhale, just lower down the heels. Take a few breaths. Next exhale, start to lower one vertebrae at a time down to meet the mat. Tucking in that tailbone. Start to windshield wiper the legs side to side. Draw the knees into the chest. Curl ourselves in, forehead towards the knees, shoulders off the mat. Going into our happy baby, so doing peace sign fingers around the toes, hands on the outside of our feet. Start to guide the tailbone down, relax the shoulders back, tucking the chin just slightly. Bring the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, draw the knees in. We can rock side to side or we can stay still. Going into half happy baby, we're going to extend the left leg down. So really reach through the ball of the foot, through that heel, find length down that leg, through the hip. Inhale, still finding length. Exhale, soften that right hip, that right leg just a little bit. Release that right foot. Just start to draw the right knee into the chest, pulling it towards that right shoulder. Inhale, and as we exhale, guide that knee over towards the left side. Start to elongate that right arm. We could gaze up at the ceiling or down at that right hand. All we're doing here is twisting through that belly, keeping the chest open up towards our ceiling. If our right shoulder is not meeting the mat, just bend the elbow, placing that hand onto the hip. Start to bring the right knee back into the chest. We guide that left knee back on in. Going into our happy baby, peace sign fingers around the toes, hands on the outside of our feet. Lifting the soles of the feet up, draw the knees in. Again, we can rock side to side. We can start to straighten out one leg and straighten out the other. This time we release that right leg, reach through the ball of the foot, through the heel. Inhale as we're reaching long through that hip. Exhale, soften that left side. Start to release that left foot. Draw the knee into the chest, pulling it towards that left shoulder. Inhale, and as we exhale, bring that left knee over towards the right side. Again, twisting through that belly. Start to elongate the left arm all the way down. Again, if that left shoulder is not meeting our mat, we just bend the elbow, bringing the hand onto our hip. We can gaze down at that arm or up at the ceiling. Just take a few breaths. Next inhale, bring that left knee back into the chest. Start to draw the right knee in. Curl ourselves in, forehead towards the knees. Wrap the arms around the legs, shoulders off our mat. Inhale through the nose, draw the breath all the way in, taking an extra sip of air on top of that big one. And exhale, release everything on down. Going into our final Savasana. So we can use that towel if we'd like to bring it underneath the knees. We could bring it underneath our lower back. So again, just grounding the spine down, hands by our side, palms facing up. Roll the shoulders down, tuck in that tailbone. Start to soften the face, soften the jaw. And let the body relax. Everything is with ease. Just let it be. Clear your whole being, as you don't have to hold on to anything that no longer serves you. Feel the body start to melt down into the mat, down into the earth. Feel Mother Earth's energy start to soak itself into your muscles, your joints and cells. Feel it ground you, protect you. Focus on your breath. Breathing all the way in. And unclench, drop, exhale it all out. Feel the body start to float, bring itself back up into our mat. We wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Awaken the physical body. Give ourselves that good morning stretch. So to bring the arms back behind us, reach through the fingertips, point the toes, inhale. Exhale, draw the knees into the chest. Start to bring ourselves up to the center of our mat. Gently close the eyes. Set the shoulders over the hips. Guide the shoulder blades down our back. Reach through the crown of the head. Bring our hands together for Anjali Mudra, our prayer hands, up into our heart center. Start to bring the thumbs into the chest. Really press, feel that heartbeat. And just feel the breath steadily. Feel the flow going in and out. We seal off our practice with a cleansing breath. So as we inhale, start to draw the arms all the way up, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Reach up tall. Hands together. Exhale, sigh, release. Bring them down to meet the heart. Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. Namaste.